Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. It seems like the Chinese are really coming out. Not like that, but they're coming out saying, you know what, let's put things on the table and determine who's who and what's what. And based on that, we can predict what's going to happen if you do this and what's going to happen if we do this. What's going on? I have here an article from Times Now, and I will explain what Times Now media outlet is. And it says in its title that China is ready to intervene if US NATO attack Russia. So it's a report. Well, I was cautious regarding this report coming from Times Now because I said, who the hell are these guys? I went here and I looked, okay, it's an Indian media outlet, but then I went to Wikipedia and it tells me that it's not a, some media outlet that is just using all kind of extraordinary news to try to make it. So here is what I found. First, Times Now is an English news channel in India, owned and operated by Times Group. The channel launched on 23 January 2006 in partnership with Reuters. It is a paid television throughout India until 2016. It was India's most popular and most viewed English news channel. So this is a accredited, legitimate news outlet. After all, it's a Times Group and Reuters right there. Correct? Correct. So I'm going to take this article as not being something idiotic. So China ready to intervene, end quote, if US NATO attack Russia. Surprise? No. So let's read this article. Let's see what this Chinese defense official said. A representative of China's Ministry of Defense on Saturday allegedly said that Beijing is ready to intervene, end quote, if the United States or NATO decide to attack Russia. A Telegram channel, WW3 Info Battlefield Research, reported. Again, this is what they reported. How do we know if that's true? Well, we don't. As many things that are reported in the US media, or when you have some anonymous sources used by, I don't know, CNN, MSNBC, Reuters, Agence France-Presse, BBC, they can claim anything by using anonymous sources. Or a person familiar with the issue from the State Department or something like that. All right, they can use this and they can say whatever they want. So can we verify that? No, well, I can't. Can you? Maybe, but I don't know. I can't. Why? Because we don't have the name of that person. And the other thing is, some people say certain things just to having a little order from somewhere because that's their assignment. Now, the Telegram channel quotes a Chinese defense representative as saying, and I'm quoting, China is ready to intervene militarily anywhere, Taiwan, if the US or NATO decide to attack Russia, end quote. We have reached out to the department to verify the claim. And this is the blah, 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 right here, they're ready. Continue reading if you see the letters. Russian President Vladimir Putin earlier this week warned that NATO and the West, that Moscow was ready for nuclear war if the United States sent troops to Ukraine. Well, he said it can end up that way. The Kremlin leader was speaking ahead of the March 15 to 17 election, which is expected to give him another 6 years in power, and it gave. Putin said that a nuclear war scenario was not rushing up. Apart from US President Joe Biden, there are enough other experts in the sphere of Russian-American relations and strategic restraint. So, I don't think that everything is going to go head on here, but we are ready for it, end quote, said Putin. Meanwhile, NATO chief, he's not a chief, he's a secretary, right? I don't think this guy has any power over there. He has the power to connect and organize things, but the ultimate decision comes from Washington, D.C., Pentagon. Clear? Clear. Don't believe me? Watch that video when not yet, Trump visited Stoltenberg when he was a president, and when I had a little conversation across from one another at that dinner, lunch, breakfast, and you see it was like as I said before, like a school principal talking to a student, third grader. The third grader, even if that third grader was right, did not challenge the school principal. That's exactly what happened. Go and watch it. So Stoltenberg called on allies to urgently send more ammunition to Ukraine. His message came as the US Congress continued to argue whether to send billions of dollars in aid to Kiev, which I think they will. They will send. Not in the form of 60 billion, but I suspect it's going to be about 50 billion. The US, Canada, and Europe have to do more. Okay, this is not a point here. Screw you guys. We're talking about China intervening or not. Well, China knows that they are next. And if Russia falls, then what's going to happen to China? Well, let's go to this. China needs resources to sustain its economy. Most of the resources needed are coming from Russia at a very advantageous price. Why? Because Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin have not only a relationship that is close to being very good friends, but it's based on trust, mutual trust, which is I do this, I say I do this and I'll do it, I say I do this and I do it, and we are together. Why? Because we know Al Capone is there to get us and its minions. So then you have what? China needs resources from Russia and also needs military backing by Russia. Not that China would not be able to defend itself. It could, but it's harder. Why? Because you're going to have all the hyenas going around Scar, the, how do you call that, Simba movie, the Lion King movie. The hyenas are going to be with Scar, with the big lion. If the big lion is injured, the hyenas will just disappear. Why? Because they're hyenas. Or coyotes, or jackals, or fossil states, whatever name you would like to attach to these weasel-owned countries, unfortunately. So China needs Russia militarily, needs Russia economically, and strategically. Look at the map and see where Russia is and look at China is. They kind of close to one another, and they share some border over there. So obviously China knows that if Russia is attacked like, what's his name, Caesar in the House chamber by Brutus and his acolytes, then they're gonna be next. Will they intervene? I think they will show that if you bring over there, we're going to support these guys. And I think somewhere in the channels that we are not allowed to obviously tap in, they are having straight conversations like this. If you do this, this is what we're going to do. The problem is not the problem. The issue is it got so severe, the whole garbage in Ukraine, that China has to come out, if that's true, and say what that report claims that official said. Well, we'll find out obviously in the future what NATO will decide, not NATO, United States will decide for NATO. NATO is United States of America plus the other guys that they can use at will. Not even as a prostitute. This is, a prostitute, or a lady of the night, you go and pay and you receive the services based on your payment. The United States doesn't even have to pay, for instance, Romania, to have access to anything, I would say, they want in Romania. So it's even worse than a prostitute. Now, I'm not saying that a wife is worse than a prostitute, because, a wife will provide you with loving, if you know what I mean. But it's not a relation between Romania and the United States of America, for example, over loving relation. you know. So if America doesn't have to pay, these guys have to pay or do anything for the Romanians to allow them to build military bases, bring whatever, it's not because Romania is worse than the prostitute that you pay, even though they keep these guys with money and power, the guys in charge of the Romanians, like any other country over there that is a vassal state. But also it doesn't have to do this anymore. Why? Because all these guys are owned already. It's like you invested and now you see the whatever the investments yield, how much money. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I think the Western countries will take note of this little statement, because sometimes that's how you do it. You throw something in the air and see how people react, and then you can say, well, it was just a mistake. No, that's not true. Or just make sure that they know that you are ready. And I think China is ready. I mean, they have a long history, not for nothing, right? Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.